Hey everyone, my name is Drake Ross, and my presentation's on the statistics behind blackjack, how math impacts every hand you play. Blackjack's one of the most popular card games around the world, but what a lot of people don't realize is how much math goes into every single decision you make at the blackjack table. Whether that's how much money you put down per hand, or if it's whether you should hit, stand, or stay, or if you should buy insurance, if you should double, but let's get into it. So, what is blackjack? So, let's start with the basics. The goal of blackjack is to get closer to 21 than the dealer without going over. If you go over, it's considered a bust. And if you bust, you completely lose that hand no matter what. Um, Face cards like kings, queens, and jacks are worth 10. Obviously, a 10 is worth 10 as well. And aces can be either 1 or 11, depending on what helps your hand the most. Uh, so you're not playing against other people at the table, you're playing against the dealer. Um, that doesn't say that the people you're playing with don't affect other things along the lines. Um, but this game is actually pretty personal to me because I played a good amount of blackjack back home, and it is really what got me interested in the math behind it before this project even was assigned. So, why blackjack is like a math problem? Blackjack isn't just like a slot machine or roulette where you just spin and hope for the best. It's one of the few casino games where your choices actually affect the outcome. Because you have control over whether to hit, stand, double, split, buy insurance, and every decision changes the math and the odds behind blackjack. That's what I think makes it perfect for a math study like this. Now let's get into the bust probabilities. It's pretty simple. Uh, this chart shows the chances of going over 21, which is a bust, when you hit on different hands. For example, if you hit on a 12, you bust about 31% of the time. If you hit on a 16, you bust about 62% of the time. These odds are really important whether deciding whether to hit or stand. And a lot of people avoid hitting on 16 because it feels risky, but mathematically, it sometimes is the best move depending on what the dealer's showing. And next, let's talk about the house edge and something called expected value. The house edge is the casino's quote unquote built-in advantage. In blackjack, that edge can be as low as 0.5% if you play perfect strategy. But for most casual players, it's closer to around 2% or higher, even because they, make mistakes. They don't know exactly what to play. It's life. Expected value is the average amount you expect to win or lose over time. Um, for example, if you bet $10 on a perfect strategy blackjack table, your expected value is about 25 cents. That means for every $10 you bet, you lose about 25 cents on average over time. One way to reduce the house edge is by using a basic strategy. On my left side of the screen, you can see a basic strategy chart. Um, it tells you the best mathematical move for every possible hand. You can see the top, you can see the dealer's first card because you're only going to see one of the dealer's cards before you decide if you're going to hit or stand or double. And on the left is whatever you have. And it tells you if you should stand or hit or double. Um, a lot of people, if you play enough, start to see this in your mind where you don't need the chart anymore. But For example, let's say you have a 16 and the dealer shows a 10. It feels risky, but the chart says you should hit it. That's because standing actually has a worse expected value in the long run. These charts are based off of millions of hand simulations and are designed to minimize your losses over time. Now let's talk about card counting. Um, this is something we touched on in class, so I don't want to keep it too long, but it's a lot simpler than people think. A lot of people hear card counting and think of huge gamblers and they don't think they could ever even do it, but it's really easy. Low cards like 2 through 6 are +1, and then middle cards are 7, 8, and 9. They count as 0. And then high cards are like 10, Jack, Queen, King, and Ace, and they count as -1. So you keep a running count in your head. If the count's high, that means there are more big cards left in the deck, which obviously would favor the player. And if the count's low or negative, the deck favors the house. This obviously doesn't guarantee you'll win, but it helps you know when to bet more or less money, which ultimately will help you win over time. And why the casino still wins, even with card counting. Even with all this math, the casino still has the edge in the long run, and they always will. They shuffle the cards often to mess up card counting. Um, they set table limits so you can't just keep doubling your bets over and over again. And of course, they're open 24/7 with players constantly coming in and out. Eventually, you're going to find people that are more or less donations. Um, so while you can lower the house edge, the casino is still built to win over time, or else they would just close. So why does this matter? Because blackjack isn't just a game of luck, it's a game of math. By knowing the odds, uh, the house edge, and expected value, you can actually make smarter decisions and stretch your money further. That's what makes this game so interesting to me, and hopefully you found it interesting too. And I used several sources to build this presentation, and here's them. And thank you for listening.